Good morning, good people, and welcome back to the Mind Your Business show. I am your host, Milt Walker, and joined today by the private money godfather himself, Mr. Tony Calloway. How's it going today, Tony?
It's a beautiful day in Columbus, Georgia, there, Maestro, and we are so
Yes, it
excited.
is.
Yes, it is, and just a blessing to be here on another Saturday morning. So we want to thank each and every one of you for making us a part of your Saturday and for making us a part of your life. Because we've got some awesome messages and we got an incredible messenger with you. But before I introduce her and engage her directly for your education and entertainment, Maestro, everything been going well for you on your end?
Yeah, everything's been going pretty good. No complaints. Just staying safe and staying busy. Just
Oh, man, I
building and building.
I appreciate you putting the platform together for us to be here this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, we have with us this morning Mrs. Ramona Wiley. She goes by Ro. So, Ro, how are you doing this morning?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. How about yourself?
Grow.
It doesn't get any better than this, I absolutely tell you. Now Ro is coming to us live from Dallas, Texas. I understand she's out on the road. And thank you, Ro, for taking time out of your Saturday and your travels to share with our audience here at the Mind Your Business show. Well, being that you're out in Dallas handling business, as I understand, I want everybody to get a chance to understand who you are, what you do, why you're important to them. And so we'll just start that off because I'm from a little small rural town in Georgia. And I always
Okay.
say, whenever you meet strangers, they're always going to ask you who you folks, because that's how they get to know you. So tell us a little bit about your background, and we'll let that start off. We'll move on through the conversation. So the floor is
Well,
yours.
okay. Well, I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. Go Pittsburgh Steelers. I got to throw that in there. Um, my mom was a school teacher. I have a younger sister in Maryland, and I have had a wonderful life. We were both raised by a terrific woman who was one of these who's of America's teachers.
Wow.
From that upbringing, I have always been kind of like a nomadic person,
Mm,
always willing to try new things, always willing to go new places. However, back in 2001, some things changed for me that I got into transportation for driving for Greyhound, getting
wow.
to see some of the beautiful countryside and entertaining myself whenever a vehicle broke down because you have to be self-sufficient when things like that happen and keep your chin up.
Mm,
Fast forward to 2010, I found myself in the construction arena. Now, that was a head scratcher for me because I found out that having my commercial vehicle driver's license enabled me some opportunities that I could never imagine. Um, when you're a woman in that type of field, it
mhm.
is extremely tough. Let me tell you something.
All
If
right.
I was a wimp in 2010,
Mhm.
I was Andre the Giant right now in 2020 because it toughens you. You learn how to take the punches, you learn how to bob, weave, and duck and stand strong at the same time. But it also brought a lot of educational opportunities because when you show that you can hang
Mhm.
and you can deal with those blows, the guys, and I'm going to say the guys because I was on contracts where I was not only just the only female,
Mhm.
I was only the black female.
Come on
But
now.
see, I used that to my advantage because when there was something I wanted to learn, I dealt with the tough talk. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to see what it is that you're doing.
Mhm.
See, I kind of played that reverse psychology. Like, yeah, I want to know what you're doing, but I'm learning it for myself.
Come on. That's how we.
So from there, fast forward to, I'm going to say about 2013, I took all that knowledge from driving with Greyhound, from driving trucks for Warner, Warner Trucking Companies, which is, I think it's Warner, it's been so long, but I think it's Warner Trucking, Warner
Mm,
Enterprises, I'm sorry, one of the top 50 trucking companies here in the nation. I took all those skills, the things that I learned, including how to operate some heavy equipment, to hauling heavy equipment up and down the
wow.
highways of 75, 85, worked with some major construction companies, worked up in the DC, Maryland area on the Dulles Airport Tunnel project. My last big construction project was back in I'm gonna say about 2010 to 2012, I worked out on Andrews Air Force Base. So when you acquire all that knowledge with the, for somebody who didn't really have a background with that in the beginning, you start to think about other things that you can do. Fast forward 2017, Elrous Enterprises was born.
Okay. Wow. That is an amazing story, and I appreciate that you shared all of that, I guess, chronology and all that came with it. So, hearing this for the first time, you mentioned that your mother was a teacher. I'm a teacher's kid myself, and I think one of the things is we learn how to learn, and apparently you not only learned it but you applied it as you've evolved into Elrous. So, to get specific to your business as it exists now, how did all these cumulative lessons help you to evolve, to create value in the marketplace in your business, Elrous Business Enterprises, and Elrous LLC? So turn it to the business focus now, because now you're creating value for other people who are able to benefit from your knowledge and experience. So tell us how that all came about.
Well, back in 2013, I had a little bit of a rough time because um, things were slowly phasing down in construction, and I kind of wanted to come back home to Atlanta. And a friend of mine was telling me about getting into the drive-away arena. When you get into the drive-away arena, that is where you haul like school buses, commercial trucks, even cars from
Mhm.
the end user to a dealer or to an end user to a company. Um, and I got into that and I was like, okay, where can I take this next? Well, one thing led to the other. I diversified and I started getting contracts with companies that dealt with more bigger vehicles. Now, you have to really listen to what I'm saying here. If you go back from where I started to where I am now, I took what I knew and created a niche that
Mhm.
has been very profitable for me. So, no matter whether you want to be in transportation or any other business, you want to make sure you're doing something that you know. If you don't know it and you want to get in something, then research it before you jump. The reason why this industry has been so profitable for me is because I always wanted to evolve. I always wanted to learn. So with Elrous Enterprises, I now have my own authority to where I can take an owner operator that wants to get into a company that maybe can't get into a company to put his trucks on. He can come through Elrous. As long
Oh,
as he meets the background requirements, Elrous will help him to get that contract. You
okay.
see, it's more to a business than just starting a business, is what I'm trying to say. Fast forward, earlier part of this year, I met a lady named Renzi Richardson with the BHFL group. I was
Yes.
introduced to her. I called her. We talked. Now comes the certifications. So she assisted me in getting my economically disadvantaged women owned small business certification so that I can
Mhm.
now get in the field on the government contract side. She also helped me get my do my DBE certification because getting in business is one thing, but now I want to change my niche. So I want to have this niche here with helping other owner operators get
Right.
in with companies they want to get in. But how about on the government side? So now I'm just getting ready to go to first base because I've made a plan. Now I can help these same people that come in with Elrose get contracts on the government side if they don't want to go through the work that is required to get set up.
Right.
So my whole premise with Elrose is
Mhm.
the letters stand for enjoy living richly or under the stars. Well, what does
Amen.
under the stars mean? Either you live for today,
Mhm.
because after you're not here, that's all you're going to see is the stars, depending on which way you go. So I'm trying to help people now that to get to not where I am, but where they want to go. And there is a certain way that you have to do it. Hence,
Un-
now we have Elrose Business Services that goes with Elrose Enterprises.
All right. Now let me capture something here, because I want people who see this to understand. And I see you and I both know Renzi, and she's awesome. And in
Whew.
fact, I think that's how you and I got to meet each other.
Yes,
because she
correct.
refers you to the private money syndicate. So because you have been able to get these certifications, you are postured, through certifications and so forth to be able to contract with, say, government agencies and
Hmm.
entities and things. So, and again, my terminology might not be correct, so please correct me in this. If I'm a new person entering into the transportation field, I use the term subcontract under Elrous Enterprises for you to basically get that work and pass that off to me because I have the capacity, I've got the truck, I've got the whatever to be able to actually do the hauling. So you're kind of my entree into the field. Is that correct? And if not,
Exactly.
okay, so
Yes, sir.
that's intelligence. That's using the system for what it's designed to do, to give us opportunities. And you're kind of like I'll say a Harriet Tubman, because see what the thing is, all the slaves wanted to be free, but they didn't know how to get out. So you figured out
Exactly.
the path, and now you leading others along that path. Ain't that awesome, Milk?
That
Man,
is great.
now that is phenomenal. That is awesome. And
It's
you
queen
did that.
status.
And indeed she is, absolutely. Well, now I'm glad you shared that because that sets the broader stage for helping people to understand, because what we want our viewers to do is really understand how you can get into business. One of the things we say here is that if you're going to go in business, stay in business, you got to mind your business.
Hmm.
So most people get stuck at going into business. So you described how you went through your life's journey and took all that you learned, garnered the right resources. So now you're in business, and your business is basically helping other people get into business. Am I right or wrong?
You are absolutely correct.
Well, I'm so delighted to have you on the show, and I'm so delighted for us to be sharing in a mission there. And Milt, before we get on into more conversation, we got the shout outs early on. And I do want to ask everybody to please like, follow, and share the Mind Your Business show. And if you think you're going to have questions, what happens every week, we get down to the last 10 minutes, and then we got 15 questions pop in. If you got questions, please ask them now so that we have ample time to address. But Milt, who we have with us this morning?
All right, we got a lot of people chiming in. First thing this morning, we got McNeely B Consulting
Hey,
coming in
Nikki.
saying good morning. Got Rainier Washington says Ramona is the best. Good morning.
Oh,
And Miss Patsy Park is here. She says good morning. Nikki Johnson is joining us again, one of our top fans. Give a shout out to Nikki.
yes.
Um, Lawana Hayes is back with us again. Good
All
morning,
right, the one we
Lawana.
missed last week.
Yeah, yeah. Erica Jones is joining us. She says good morning as well.
Thank
Uh,
you.
uh, Sasso Joseph says salute Ramona. So salute. And uh, Raina Washington says awesome advice. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you all.
Great, great, great.
Thank you all for being here this morning. And as I said, please share the good news with everybody you know so they can make us part of their lives as well. All right, so now, Ro, tell us some of the unique opportunities and challenges. Now, you alluded to them. I'm a story type person. Everybody
Okay.
says every time I tell somebody something, I got to tell a story to go with it. So you can share a story or two. But some of the opportunities and challenges as a woman in a predominantly male, transportation industry. And let me add to that, because you said you're now bringing others who are of our persuasion, our ethnicity, our culture into opportunities. Some of the things that you knock down, some of those barriers, and allowing them to access because you've been such a leader in the field.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I don't look at transportation anymore as a male dominated field. Because you know why? If they fall, they're going to hurt themselves. If I
Mm.
fall, I'm going to hurt myself. It
Okay.
doesn't matter. I don't care. I mean, I have pretty much groomed myself to be able to adapt, as my friend Charles Cartwright would say. You
Mhm.
have to adapt, improvise, and overcome. Isn't that how the soldiers do it when they're out
Green.
there fighting in this war? So it's the same principle in life. You
Mm.
have to adapt, you have to improvise, you have to overcome. Tony, let me touch on something real quick because see now you didn't stir my blood, so I'm getting I told you
Lit the
Give it
fire.
I'm I'm
give it
I'm,
a story
I'm
that
ready. Okay, I'm ready to
We
turn
can
to turn
tell. We can
people's
tell.
lives, turn them into a true champion.
all right.
As everybody knows something that somebody needs to know.
Hmm.
That's right.
Okay. That's number
Amen.
one. But on my mother's premise, she always said, if every one person would teach one person what they know, none of us will be sitting here waiting on a stimulus check.
Mm.
Mm.
None of us will be sitting here waiting to see who's going to be in office, because it doesn't matter who's in office. You have to become the own president of your own United States.
Amen.
There is a way to create your own stimulus checks. I'm creating my own stimulus checks because one check for $1,200 doesn't do anybody any good.
You're right.
That's gambling money to me. So why not take that $1,200 and gamble it into doing something with your life, starting a business, whether you want to have a business or not, and go from there. The key point is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to wait for the people in the Senate or the Congress or the House or whatever to come together to sign off on a freaking bill. You
Hmm.
can write your own bill. Let me give you some key pointers. Number one, find something that you like to do and that you know. See what you can do with it. Number two, do your research. See who else is out there that you could either probably mimic or do something differently. Number three, if it's a lot of people in a field that you're in, that's okay. Then go ahead and get the funding for it. Make sure you're set up to get the funding. Because guess what? When you get into the government well of contracting, and I know I'm deving off a little bit,
No, go ahead.
you don't just want to go out and start looking at contracts if you don't have the money to fund it. Because guess what? You may not get a check from the government for 30, 60, 90, 120 days.
Hmm.
So when you find something that you want to do, whether it's for a full-fledged business or something on the side, work on what you need to do to get the funding first. That's where Elrous Business Services comes in handy, because we found some very unique and creative ways to get funding, even through this pandemic. Key point. I've gotten just shy of $160,000, some in
Awesome.
cash, some in equipment. We're in a pandemic.
Hmm.
But when you're set up right, whether you're just starting out or you've been in business 3 years or you've been in business 5 years, it's still out there, especially on the business side.
Right.
Very, very, very important point here I'm trying to say to everyone. Even if you don't want to have a business, set yourself up and create a presence of a business so that you can be prepared for any type of outcome that's going on with the economy. We already know we're in a down economy. And instead of paying attention to what's on the news, pay attention to what's happening in the markets.
Hmm.
That's the true indicator of what you really need to be preparing for. So it's folks, it's out there, whether you know it or not. Just find your passion, find your niche. If there's something that you think you want to do, start researching it.
Hmm.
You
Well,
know,
let me tag on to some of the things, and I'll kind of go in reverse chronology. Paying attention to what's going on in the marketplace, because whenever there is uh, chaos, there's opportunity. And from the standpoint, this
mm-hmm.
pandemic has created chaos, and to your point of stimulus and things that might be government related, those are, I call them, kind of like painkillers. It doesn't change whatever the ill is; it just you ain't feeling it, or maybe it
Right.
mutes it somehow. But to go to what you were saying about adapt and what is it? Adapt, improvise, and overcome. That's the
Overcome.
Marines motto. We've done that for hundreds of years in this country, and still, despite all the impediments, we make progress because there are people like you who look into the chaos, see opportunity, as you said, prepare yourself intelligently, prepare yourself fiscally. And one of the things we do here at the Private Money Syndicate, now I'll be specific because I got to you got to pay the bills here, is that, contract financing, getting contracts, because like Rose said, you might not get paid for quite a while. They
Yes.
tell you up front. Now you might be on $1 million contract, but that first increment of compensation is not going to come in for 90 days, but you've got labor and materials and all that stuff. So there are resources we have through the Private Money Syndicate that can provide contract financing. Another thing that every business needs, and I wrote articles about this a year plus ago before the pandemic, is get lines of credit. You need to
Yes.
have working capital because good things are going to happen and bad things are going to happen. You need to have that money there so that you are not stressed when the bad things happen and you're not out of luck when the good things come your way because you've got something you can tap into because you've built that credit over time. And again, the private money syndicate is here to help you with contract financing, lines of credit, and a variety of different things. But that goes into preparation. And that
Yes, it
goes
does.
into somebody who knows something that you don't know. And I want to tell this story again. There was a guy who got a contract at Moody Air Force Base where Milt was born. I know he's going to say it. And he had just gotten out of the military, didn't have anything, didn't have equipment. Then he just knew that area. He got the contract because he was a disabled vet. He had certifications. He had done that in preparation. And so now he's like, oh, now I got it. What do I do? And he came to us and we got him, and his business is probably over $2 million a year business now, because we were able to factor those early contracts and just keep on rolling, keep on rolling. So this is an ecosystem we have here. And it starts with, people like Roe, resources like we have here at the Private Money Syndicate. So yeah, if you see opportunity, you got to connect with people because somebody's already done this. They've already figured it out. Just because you haven't seen it before, trust me, we've seen a lot. So that's why we can do a lot. And Ro, I want to turn it back over to you because I think she was preaching there, Milt. But before she continues with her sermon, any new shout outs or any questions that came in?
Yeah, we got some we got some shout outs from the congregation, if you will. Carolyn Kennedy says good morning. Ryan Calloway says good morning, all. Looking forward to learn more. Lawana Hayes says preach, preach. Kendez Parker says fact. Ryan Calloway said preach, sister. Say it, sis. Says Rainier. And Miss Honey Renee Gunn, one of my personal friends, she says that's some facts right there. That's some facts. So like I said, we got the congregation here listening, and go ahead with your sermon, sister.
All right. Hey, let me set it up with another question. Now, what are some of the unique solutions that are provided through Elrous Enterprises and Elrous Business Services?
Some of my unique solutions I am really not privy to speak on right now. They are on a serious note, um, I'm in the, whew, this makes me so excited. My heart just start beating real fine. Okay, let me take a woosah. Woosah. Um, I am in the process of doing something with Elrose Enterprises for my owner operators out there.
Okay.
On a serious note. At the same time, we can help anyone, whether they're in the field of transportation or not. For example, there's a friend of mine. Matter of fact, she gave a shout out, Caroline. Caroline is 5 feet tall and
Okay.
can outdrive any trucker. Okay, so when it comes to women in trucking, she is someone that has really taught me a lot in regards to conversation. But she has a trucking company, and this is why I say you want to find out something that you can do differently to set yourself apart. So her company is totally into transportation, but she has a ministry that she's going to use her trucking company for.
All
So
right.
what is that ministry? Her ministry with truck driving and any other part of transportation is going to bring awareness to those that are suffering with HIV and AIDS.
Okay. Wow.
This is where you get into something that you know, and you build on a platform as to what your ministry, since I'm Reverend Rowe now, my black collar, you find out what you want to do with your ministry because while she's out there on the road, can you imagine her truck showing what she does?
Wow. That's
Passing all these trucks that are just passing company names. They just got a company name on the side. She's advertising what she does and to bring awareness that even during a pandemic, you still have people out there that are suffering with HIV and AIDS. You may, she may branch out and say, you know what, I want to bring awareness to breast cancer. She may have another truck out there that brings awareness to breast cancer. Maybe one of her sons wants to do the same thing. So, okay, mom, well, let's do something that brings awareness to prostate cancer. It's all about creating something that's different, that's going to bring attention to you, which on top of that will help drive people to even help back you. So what Elrose does is what I'm doing with our owner operators and my business partner, Maurice, is we're going to set it up to where I don't want to just bring in owner operators. I want to bring in owner operators that want to really get themselves financially prepared for the change. The change in transportation is artificial intelligence.
Mm.
They have trucks out here that are
Now you're
running at
talking my
night.
language.
Yeah, they have trucks out here, and I've seen them. I've seen about
Self-driving, yes.
maybe up to 5 trucks, and I'm like, God, that window tint is really dark. And
How
I'm
can they
like,
see out
how
there,
can they see? I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and she was like, wouldn't surprise me if they not testing these AI trucks. Then I got to thinking, because your mind is a fabulous instrument of artificial intelligence, if you want to know the truth.
Exactly.
It started taking me back to images that I saw of this truck that I was passing. So what's that gonna do? What kind of impact is that gonna have on the owner operator?
You're
It's
right.
shutting them out because
Hmm.
it's not just artificial intelligence. It's large companies that are merging. And
You're
if
right.
you don't have what it takes to merge, you better have what it takes to sustain.
Hmm.
So this is where Airwos comes in to where I connect with other people that I know have strength stronger than mine. We take our strength together and we look out for owner operators. Like I said, I can't really say it right now. We look at the owner operators in a different way financially. So yes, they can still keep their trucks if they want, or they can go into doing LTL things of that nature. But it's all about being prepared for the change and making sure that they're able to take care of their families in the event that they are locked out because it's coming.
Facts.
If you remember a couple of weeks ago, Walmart announced they gave Tesla. I know y'all say, what does Walmart have to do with what you're talking about? I want you to listen. I want my audience to
Mm-hmm.
listen.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart gave Tesla $2 million as down payment for trucks that are going to have no drivers.
Right.
Amazon, y'all so busy paying everything attention to everything on Amazon as far as what they sell. If
Right.
you're in business and you're in transportation, you better be paying attention to what they're doing. They got trucks that look like UPS trucks. They got day cab trucks to haul their own trucks.
Yep.
They're still using UPS, FedEx, and the post office and any other shipping platform to get their stuff out there because they're running neck and neck with Walmart right now. But what they're doing in the background, they're getting ready to go totally electric. They're
Right.
also going to be having AI trucks. But let's fast forward to UPS and FedEx. You have a lot of contractors out there that haul for UPS, that haul for FedEx on a contractual side as owner operators.
That's right.
Don't you think they're doing the same thing? So you really have to pay attention to what's going on in your environment to start planning, so
Hmm.
to start being prepared for that change, to start making sure that you are financially in good shape. Because maybe if you're not going to be an owner operator anymore, maybe you need to do something else and you want to be able to do that. In other words, become your own bank. You don't have to worry about going to the Bank of
Wow.
Americas or the Chases. You know what I'm saying? Just become your own bank, like you said, Tony. Getting those lines of credit, getting that capital together, so that you can stay in the game and play it well.
Exactly.
And I
Well, let me ask you a question. You just brought up some very interesting things where, Milt, were you saying something? I'm sorry.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, and
Um,
I would be
but
interested to
in
have a conversation with you, Ro, about that off camera once we get finished with this, because that's along the lines of some of the things that I talk about with people too, and so I think I can add a little bit to that. And I know you said because surrounding that, there's some proprietary type of information and stuff like that, so I don't want to kind of get into it right now, but after we get off of here, kind of continue the conversation a little bit.
It's a secret.
Right, right.
right.
But go ahead, Tony. That's it. That's all I
Well,
wanted to say.
well, okay. Well, the very good points. I didn't know that our show was going to go this way, but I mean, the point is evolving with position yourself to evolve as business evolves. I mean, business is an organic thing, and the rate of change is increasing. And I mean, this pandemic brought
Mm-hmm.
about a sweeping change in so many different ways. But now some of these things, as Rose says, you can see where this is going. So the question has a broader answer, but you can apply it wherever you think it fits within your perspective, Ro, is as you see these things happening, for somebody, you got two groups. You got the ones who are not in business, who are looking to go into it, and then you got the people who are being impacted now or later by these things. So what kind of advice or guidance, do you give from your point of view? Because you have a very unique perspective, and I really like the fact that you brought that out. So, get us inside your thinking. If I was a client on one of those two areas of, wanting to go into business, or I'm in the transportation business, how do you talk to me about this future that's coming along here with automation and so forth, electrification, even you mentioned.
Start reading. Don't listen to everything that's on the news. You want to start reading. Sign up
Hmm.
to some financial newsletters. Sign up to CNN. Sign up to Yahoo Finance. Anything in the finance arena is going to give you a heads up of what's really happening. Why is that? Because it's tied to the markets. The market is a major player in finding out what's fact and what's fiction. It's just like, for example, with this coronavirus vaccine. You have some people hailing, yes, it's going to be ready in November, and yes, it's going to be ready after the or before the election. But then when you read in the finance section that a lot of these companies that are working together as a conglomerate to come up with a vaccine, they got to put things on hold.
Hmm.
So who do you believe? You believe the ones that are saying, okay, we're putting this on hold because guess what? If you look at what their stock was yesterday and what it is today, it's going from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
What's in between that? The truth.
Hmm.
So it's all about reading. I watch cartoons. I mean, look at my shirt. I'm just a cartoon fanatic. Why? Because it keeps my spirits up. I can't pay attention to all that junk that happens on the news. Now, if I hear something, the one thing I go to do that everybody should do is to check the facts. If you
Okay.
read any type of financial section, it's going to give you the facts. Because if you read what happened the week before, and like I said, up till today, you go in between those areas, that's the truth. Oh, the vaccine's going to be ready. Well, how's it going to be ready if they're canceling the trials? Hmm. Reading is fundamental.
Indeed, it is. Now, I want to throw in another plug. One of the reasons we exist in the private money syndicate is, to Rose's point, finances in everything. I remember the movie Al Pacino starred in The Devil's Advocate. It said, why the law? Because the law is in everything. Why
Mm-hmm.
finance? Because finance is in everything. Because underwriting is, whether it's an investment or somebody applying for debt financing, they're going to be looking for the truth. They're going to be looking for where it is. They're going to be looking for where it came from. They're looking for where it goes. I mean, that is foundational. So, in alignment with the advice that she's giving, is you need to get your intellectual awareness in line with where are the right sources. Now, my background is in intelligence, and one of the first things is who reported it. What's the viability of the source? All right, and then the second thing is what's fundamental and foundational about it. All right, certain things
Mm-hmm.
are just foundation for everything. Even it says be prepared. One of the Boy Scout things, be
Right.
prepared. Okay, and preparation is something you do before things happen. One is to
Exactly.
be proactive, the other is reactive. So in the midst of the question and response you gave, be aware of the trends. And if you're looking to go into business, go to where it's going to happen. And if you're in the
Exactly.
business, evolve with it. Don't resist it, because the tides you can't stop. You got to. Things are not going to go backwards. They're going to go forward. Now, where do you find your niche? Where do you find your opportunity? Who do you acquire? I was on the phone last night with a company who's looking to buy two companies in the home health agency area because the population is getting older. People are getting sicker. They're not wanting to go to nursing homes. So they're trying to get $10 million to go out and acquire another company because, that's what makes sense to them. So these things that she's talking about, and what, a lot of wisdom here. That's why we say you preaching this morning, is helping the people have insight. We often talk about hindsight's 2020, but when you can have insight, that can be 2020 as well. And that often comes from talking to other people, reading, getting familiar with people who are looking in and who are shaping the future, because they tell it. but you always getting the news late, and that's what happens so often. We need to get the news. We need to make the news. And Ro, I thank you. Now, Mill, I see you staring at the screen. Any shout outs or any questions? Since we got the right Reverend here to, share a good word with us this morning.
With the black collar.
And Mill, if you got any questions, I mean, hey, you're part of the show too. So.
No, so Caroline just said you better say that. She agrees with you and she appreciates the shout out. Ronnie Pollard just said it was very smart, talking about what you were talking about earlier. And so that's it right now. Everybody else is just intently listening. I think you kind of captivated them with what you were talking about, and your view on that. So yeah, that's all we got for right now.
Yeah, well, I want to say that the way you were talking about Caroline, Milt, this vision struck me. I said, wow, now all these trucks on the road, you're right, bro. Most of them have the name of the company or whatever. I said, wouldn't it be great to have private money syndicate on the side of a bunch of 18 wheelers going all over the country, all that space, website, email address, what we do. I mean, that could be an advertising marketing opportunity. I bet a lot of folks hadn't thought about that.
Well, actually, it's really a great platform because if you think about it, trucks, cargo vans, minivans, box trucks, they pretty much go all over.
Exactly.
And the one unique thing about that I like about what Caroline is doing is because she's keeping the awareness
Mm,
alive to make sure that what's going on with HIV/AIDS or cancer, any type of illness that can really, you know, take you to a place you're not ready to go
mm,
by no fault of your own, but it just keeps the awareness out there.
right.
What Elrose likes to do is to really, really help people. If you're going to have any type of successful business, number one, you have to make sure you have relationships. Every contract that I have a relationship with. It's like family. I'm
Mm,
here in Texas. I'm doing one thing and I'm going to help another family member out because there's a company that I contract with called Avanti Transportation out of Ontario, California. And the lady that runs the company, Cindy Henry, is really my mentor now that I think about it.
right.
Because for someone who has been in transportation for 20 years, she has all her certifications in place. When you meet Cindy, you would have a hard time saying, okay, she runs a business. No, she runs a very strong business platform.
Mm,
And I watch how she speaks to me whenever I have a problem or if I'm doing a bid. You know, that tone of voice, it just never changed. If something happens while I'm on the road, she said the first thing she expresses is concern. So sometimes you don't always get what you want in business, but when something happens to you and that person is expressing concern, that's who you want a business relationship with because that lets you know they not only care about you as Elrous Enterprises, they care about you as Wiley.
mm,
You know what I'm saying? So, because you got a lot of companies out there that they go to owner operators. Yeah, we're looking for owner operators. We're paying this and this and this amount. They work there for 30 days, then they gone. Why did they
mm.
leave? Well, it may be the money for two, but couldn't it be also the way they were treated?
You're right.
So with Arrow's platform, no other company out there is doing what I'm doing because I'm not just hiring you to drive a truck. You can hire anybody to do that.
Mm,
I'm bringing you in to develop you, and I'm doing it not just through conversation. I'm doing it through documentation. So if I can show you what I'm doing for myself,
right.
wouldn't you rather work with someone that can show you rather than just to give you a whole bunch of fast talk?
Mhm.
Got to think about those things too when you go into business.
Yeah.
You have a lot of sharks out there now.
Mm,
They're all about we're in a pandemic and they're all about the money. They can really care less about helping you.
yeah. Now,
Elrose Enterprises is not like that.
Well, so I gather that in the sense, rolling back to some of our conversation, you're helping people to get into and grow in the transportation industry. So it's more like they're working with you as opposed to working for you. You know,
Correct.
that cultivation, that nurturing to where, I mean, one of the things, even in my business with some of my affiliates, I call it an apprenticeship program because I want you to learn how to do what we're doing because there's plenty of opportunities out here. And, you know, it's through those relationships. And as you said earlier, if everybody taught somebody what they know, taught one person what they knew, you know, we could eradicate ignorance. It's probably one of the biggest diseases in the world. Um, so now let's go more granular in terms of Elrous Business Services. So enumerate for our audience what services could I get from the heart, mind, and spirit of Elrous Services embodied in what it is that you do, Ro. So tell me what are the list of services that Elrous offers.
Well, we offer a variety of services, but I'm going to take it to the point of explaining it to you where we start. We start from the ground up. If you're looking to start in the middle, you might as well get ready to fall. So we work with what needs to be worked on the most. You got to get your personal side situated first. That picture has to be like the Mona Lisa. You
Mm,
have to make it so valuable, and you can relate to this, Tony. You have to make that picture so valuable because if that picture looks good,
mm,
then they know the next picture that you're trying to paint on the business side, it's gonna look just as good.
come on
What
now.
I'm trying to say here, clean your house up, folks. You got to clean your house up. You got to quit thinking, oh, this don't matter, that don't matter. No, you got to clean your house up. Let me share something with you. You got a lot of credit repair companies out there. Some good, some bad, some ain't worth the time of day. But we do something a little bit different here at Elrose on the business services side. We actually walk you through getting your credit done based on what it is. And then there are some things that may be on your credit, like maybe a tax lien or a bankruptcy and something like that, that requires a little bit more attention. But there's a lot of stuff that you could do yourself,
That's right.
and it can be done mm, maybe within 28 to 48 hours if you know how to do it. But see, you have a lot of people out there that are shooting out information and they want to charge you like all this crazy money, but they're not going to take you by the hand and walk you. You won't be able to call them and say, hey, can you help me with this? Mm-mm. We don't do that at Elrose. You need help, we're going to help you. Once you got that Mona Lisa ready, you ready to go to the Van Gogh? All right. You know what the Van Gogh is, don't you, Tony?
I
Okay,
do.
because now,
You're like, we
you
got what?
gotta show. Tony Calloway comes in and he says, "Well, what does your Mona Lisa look like? Let's see it." You look
Mm,
at that Mona Lisa, you be like, "Oh, okay, you're ready to go. All right, now we can take you over here to the Van Gogh side." You know, because that picture, that personal finance picture,
mm.
will allow you to get more funding than you can ever imagine. Can I interject something here outside of transportation
Go
so
right
that
ahead.
these folks can kind of get where I'm going with this? Because, I can talk fast, I get passionate about it, and I forget what I'm talking about. So let's see. I have an apparel company, and mind you, it's starting out t-shirts and hoodies and all that. But see, I don't want to do just t-shirts and hoodies. I want a clothing line. I've learned in the past 30 days to listen to that inner voice.
All right.
One day, the inner voice said, you need to go ahead and get that commercial embroidery machine you've been thinking about. I'm like, oh, okay. So I did some research on embroidery machines and called the company up and ended up acquiring an account representative. Here goes that relationship thing again. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, we chat about 2 or 3 times a week now. Um, I was asking her some questions about the equipment. Long story short, she's like, well, how you want to pay for it? I was like, well, $23,000 is a lot of money. I just don't want to come out of my pocket with. 'Cause I ain't rolling like that now. I
Mm-hmm.
ain't Mick Jagger, I ain't rolling like that. So She said, well, let's go after some financing. So she hooked me up with a gentleman, and he was like, oh, it's going to take about 24 to 48 hours before we get back with an approval. The guy called me back in an hour and 15 minutes. He said, shoot, I got your machine financed. I was like, okay. The next
Awesome.
thing I know, the same day, I'm talking with the finance company. They gave me a great rate. They explained everything to me. So that was 23,000 in less
Wow.
than 24 hours. Because my Mona Lisa was good. She was
There you
really, really good. She hadn't turned into a watercolor painting. She was still an oil painting.
go.
But then it was like, okay, here come that little voice again. How you gonna get the materials and stuff that you need to go with the equipment? Well, my little AR rep said, well, I can, let's see if we can go over here to this bank and, they'll take an application, blah, 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 blah. The one word I like to see in the email is congratulations. It's just something about that word,
I know you're
congratulations.
right. I
So
know you're right.
within less than about 72 hours, I got 33,000 worth of financing.
Awesome.
And this is an equipment and a credit line. So my thing is, with Arrow's Business Services, we get you there because we know what it takes. Even we're in a pandemic,
Hmm.
but because my business is set up right, my personal picture was right, they don't mind taking a risk.
That's true.
You have to start from the ground up. So we take you step by step by step by step so that not only that you can get the credit lines, which Tony can help you get, but you want to have that good mix. See, a lot of people get hung up on credit score. Oh, my credit score is 700, but they didn't give me a car. Well, you don't have a good mix. You
Hmm.
you you have to have that mix. Am I right, Tony?
You're right. Yep.
Because that's going to play a key in what you could get on the business side. And now with with COVID taking place, I'm finding out that banks aren't just looking at your credit score, whether it's personal or business. They want to see bank statements,
That's true.
whether it's your personal bank statement. And we ain't talking about just the most recent month. We're talking about maybe the last 3 to 6 months.
Six.
But
That's right.
but even if you don't want to get in business, folks, to my audience out there, there's a way that you can show that you got a business with money coming in it and have it going into this account, this business account for 3 months so that you can paint that picture. See, it's all in about the know how. We know how to do it because I've done it, which has added more funding to not only my transportation business, but on also the business services side and also the apparel company. So it's out there to get during this pandemic. There are credit unions and banks out there that you can get in to get this money as well as what Tony can get for you. So,
Indeed.
my thing is if you're interested, hey, just go to the website, elrous.com.
Well, that is a story all unto itself. Milt, any questions from you or from the audience? Because Rose just laid it all out there so sweet for us that I hope everybody's hearing it, and I hope that you abide by the word because you just
It's
got it.
there. It's out there. Number one, you want to make sure that that's something that you want to get into. It is not the easiest or most glamorous field to get into, but number one, know what side of trucking you want to get in on, whether it's freight, whether it's intermodal, whether you want to do less than truckload, which is getting a box truck or getting a sprinter van. Research that. Number two, find out what's required as far as insurance and licensing, which means 9 times out of 9, you will have to get commercial insurance. Commercial insurance rates are different if you have a power unit or if you have a box truck or if you have a sprinter van. Number three, what niche do you want to get into? Do you want to work within just your state? Do you want to work regionally? Or do you want to work nationwide, including Canada? So, and then what kind of freight do you want to haul? Do you just want to haul general freight? Do you want to haul hazardous material, which is very rewarding, by the way? So you just want to make sure you know those three things. What sector in transportation? Less than truckload, truckload. Sprinter van, box truck, or power unit with a trailer. What type of materials you want to haul, general goods. What region do you want to work? Do you want to work statewide? Do you want to work regionally? Or do you want to work nationwide? And do your research. Find some different blogs or Facebook groups that are out there so that you can see what's going on in the transportation field to give you a more accurate decision on which way that you want to go in the transportation.
All right, thank you. Any others?
No, just Cindy Henry says, "Good morning, Ramona. You are the best. I appreciate you so much."
That's my other sister.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I see why everybody is such a fan of yours, and certainly I've become a fan of yours. I know we've talked several times over the months, and then recently coming up to the show. And it's great to put a face with the voice from the standpoint you come across. You know, as some people, you just fall in love with them just from talking to them, and you just got so much vitality and energy, and quite entertaining in conversation. So you certainly been all of that for the show. All
You
right.
ought to be in my class. You ought to be in one of my classes. If you think I'm entertaining on here, come to one of my classes. I'm gonna help you retain everything I teach you.
Well, I actually teach college too, and I say that in my next life I want to be a comedian because I honestly believe you learn more when you're laughing. I mean, everybody remembers jokes. Now if you can embed real information inside of a joke or a story, it just sticks.
Oh,
That's just
you'll
what it
retain it.
is.
It's
Exactly.
true.
But now, Ro, we're about to wrap things up, and so I want to turn it over to you for about 2 minutes, and whatever you want to say that to people to get in contact with you. You got the special offers or whatever. I call this your 2 minute commercial time. So please share with your audience now and in perpetuity who will come across this, reasons to get in touch and how.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you for having me on. Folks, no matter what type of business that you want to get to, make sure number one, you research. Research, research, research. Number two, if it's a area that you're not familiar with, find somebody that can mentor you. Like I said, I have a mentor. I watch how she handles her business. And you just be surprised at the wealth of information that you can just gain just by working with them. Number three, if you need help with from knowing where to start to where to finish, reach out to Elrous Enterprises at www.elrous.com. On that particular site, you'll get some background about Elrous Enterprises, but also on the business services side, how we can help you get started. I will be having a class in December. It's going to be a 2 day class, 6 hours a day. I haven't decided on what date. It's going to be on a Saturday and Sunday. If you are interested or have a business, we're going to have a open book classroom session. I'm going to show you, not by PowerPoint presentation. It's going to be a live class. I'm going to show you how you could take yourself from where you are now to where you're trying to go. I'm going to just lay out the framework. Um, Send any type of if you have if you well let me backtrack here because I know I got 2 minutes. Send me this in an email to info@elrose.com. Put class 2021. Let me just get your email address. This class, I'm going to blow your mind because there's a lot of information out there that is being sold for a crazy amount of money, but I can take you from A to Z for $397. That's because I'm gonna give you $100 discount by attending this show. So if you let me know that you attended Mike's show, it's $397. The class is going to be in December. Just send an email to info@elrous.com and in the subject line put class 2021.
All right. Well, I hope that the class is full and that everybody who's watching, please share this with others because everybody knows somebody who wants to go into business. And that's one of the things that we advocate for and we support here through the Mind Your Business show and as part of our mission with the Private Money Syndicate. Private Money Syndicate, we say we power your dreams with private money. And there's plenty of it out there looking for great ideas and great operators who can turn that into profits and provide jobs and do all the things our economy and our people need. So, Ro, thank you so much for being on the show today. You've not only entertained us, you've inspired us. And if you open up the
Thank
door for
you.
the church, I bet you we'd have some folks join today.
Oh
Amen.
Lord.
All right. So, hey, look, I just want to remind everybody that we love you and we appreciate you. So, thank you for showing up for us today. And for
Yes,
all of
thank
you,
you.
please, like, follow, and share because our numbers are growing. Our viewers, Milt, I call you the maestro. Thanks for all the things you do on the technology side to make all that happen. And so with that, I want to remind everybody that if you're going to go into business and if you're going to stay in business, you've got to mind your business. So with that, I'll let the maestro take us home. Thank you very much.
All right, everybody. Thank you again, and thank you, Miss Rowe. We appreciate you so
Anytime.
much with your words of wisdom. Just got a comment that came in. Thank you for your words of wisdom, and we really do appreciate it. And everybody out there, thank you for joining us, and we're gonna see you on the next one. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care.